All right, you can always count on Republicans really saying some stupid stuff. We're going to go to Indiana on this one, y'all. The Lieutenant Governor of Indiana, Micah Beckwith, is getting a lot of backlash because he fashioned himself as a constitutional scholar, and he decided to weigh in on a 3/5 compromise.
Hey everybody, this is Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith. I want to give you an update on a bill, Senate Bill 289, which is called Unlawful Discrimination Bill. Senator Byrne is carrying that bill. It was in the Senate just a few minutes ago. Well, if you were watching or listening to the Senate, if you were trying to fall asleep and we're trying to get some good background noise on, you might have been listening. The Senate on the Democrat side, they got up and they started talking about how this bill embodies something to the effect of the 3/5 compromise. They were bringing that up. They were saying this is a bad bill because it actually encourages discrimination, just like the 3/5 compromise, going all the way back to the foundations of our nation. I would like to share with you the 3/5 compromise is not a pro-discrimination compromise. It was not a pro-discrimination or a slave-driving compromise that the founders made. It was actually just the opposite. It was a compromise that the North made with the South. At the time, there were basically 13 independent nations. They had not really created a constitution. They were sort of a European Union-esque nation, and they were saying to the pro-slave states, hey, if you want to count your slaves to have representation, more representation in Congress, we're not going to let you do that, because they knew that that would codify things like slavery into our nation. And the North stood up to the South, and they said, we're going to, if you're going to count your property, because the South says, hey, this is our property, but we want to count them in the congressional representation. We want to count them in the census. At the time, there was 30,000 people would equal one member of Congress. And so they said, we're going to count our slaves. We're going to get more members of Congress in the South. The North said, you can't do that. So what they came back to the South and they said, fine, if you want to count your property, your slaves, as whole people, we're going to count our property. We're going to count our tables. We're going to count our chairs. We're going to count all the stuff that we have in our house. And the South said, well, you can't do that. And they said, well, you're doing it with your property. We're doing it with our property. So what they did is they came up with a 3/5 compromise. They said, you will only get 3/5 of a vote when it comes to your slave. And what that did, it actually limited the number of pro-slave representatives in Congress by 40%. This was a great move by the North to make sure that slavery would be eradicated in our nation. They knew what they were doing. But now here you have Senate Democrats in today's American Republic who do not understand that. They think the 3/5 compromise was something that was a scourge on black people. That's not what it was. And how did we get to this place? We got to this place because of DEI in education. We got to this place because you have professors at woke schools that will not teach the history of what actually happened back in the foundations of our nation. Many men and leaders in our nation's history knew how wicked slavery was. They knew that God had created even black people, white people, red people, all people in his image, and they were fighting for equality for all. But they're not taught that today. And that's why you had the Senate Democrats who were getting up talking about the 3/5 compromise like it was some sort of terrible thing in our past. It was not. It actually was the exact opposite that helped to root out slavery and lead us into a more perfect union that we now see, where black, white, red, brown, all people can have equal representation under the law. That's what the 3/5 compromise was all about. So don't buy into the DEI radical revisionist history that is happening in today's culture. Know your history. Go back and study the documents. Read them for yourself like I have. Go look them up, and you will find that the 3/5 compromise and many other things like that were designed to make sure that justice was equal for all people, and equality really meant equality for all. So that's what's going on in the Senate today. Glad to keep you updated. Thanks for everyone tuning in and for all you're doing to keep our nation and our state the greatest it can possibly be.
It's because of DEI. Henry, go to my iPad. y'all, the 3/5 Compromise was in 1787. Slavery was abolished with the ratification of the 13th Amendment in 1865. So this fool wants us to believe that the 3/5 Compromise put us on the pathway to end slavery. Slavery ended 78 years later. I done told y'all I'ma create a new segment called This Motherfucker. This is why the segment is gonna be created. What you just heard was some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. And this white man wants to blame DEI. Every history teacher that man has had should go to the state capitol, Eugene, and smack the shit out of him.
I mean, look, this is the thing, right? He's an elected lieutenant governor talking this bullshit. But the thing is this: if you have an elected lieutenant governor talking this, you know it's permeating among all other circles on the right. And the sad part is that they actually do believe this. This is, they're going to wrap it up in, the DEI cloth. But at the end of the day, this is a hardcore belief of theirs that, oh yeah, the 3/5 Compromise eventually led to the abolishment of slavery, which, is complete bullshit. And it's actually, disrespect at the highest level, because you're trying to justify 3/5 Compromise as to us black folk, essentially saying that we're justifying you being considered 3/5 of a human being.
These people, Randy, are dumb as hell. There were so many people who just wanted to end slavery. That's a lie. If there were as many John Browns as he described, it would have not taken a civil war. It would have not been a battle at Harper's Ferry. Gone.
No, this one has me, burned up, because this is my area. And this is why they want to get rid of CRT, critical race theory. This is why they want to get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is why they are stripping our museums. They are banning books. They are ensuring that our kids do not learn their actual history so they can make up a history that puts them in a favorable light and that completely diminishes our history on this planet. They literally will make the enslavement of human beings sound as if it was something positive, and the majority of white people were fighting for our freedom, which we know is a lie. And so it so makes me angry when you hear people pass this false information, because he has a responsibility to tell the truth. But he is telling the truth that so many people want to hear because it makes them feel comfortable. And when we come out with the correct truth, which explains a lot of the truths we are living today, they work hard and make it illegal for us to do it. They work hard to block the truth because they don't like it. And they try to justify the current atrocities that they're doing. The fact that there is a bill that, again, said that we were not even human, that we were 3/5 of a human, and this jackass has the audacity to act like it was something positive is reprehensible. It's reprehensible.
Joy, the Klan was founded in Tennessee. Go to my iPad, Henry. This says, but by the early 1920s, this is Ball State University. By the early 1920s, Indiana was a center of Klan activity. At its height, the state had over 250,000 Klansmen. In the 1920s, journalist and social critic H.L. Mencken commented, quote, "It is commonly reported now that the banner Ku Klux Klan state is not Georgia, but Indiana." I guess that's where Micah got his history lessons from.
Correct. I mean, the problem here is that white people, many of them, Indiana Klan or not, instead of just facing what they did, what they are the inheritors of, and then having to do something about it. Because once you know that you have benefited from this system that enslaved people, then you have to do something about it. They know that their own children understand how America was created. And not to say that America is bad or that white people are bad, but that there are things that we have to address in our society and in our history. Instead of doing that, they'll believe anything else. And they are desperately looking for anyone, even if it doesn't make any sense, anything to hang on to it, whether it's photoshopped MS-13 things that they all know is photoshopped and not true, but they'll say it is. Whether it's saying that the 3/5 compromise was somehow meant to help Black people, if it's true, it doesn't matter. If it makes sense, it doesn't matter. If it's something that gives them plausible deniability, they will take it. This is my greatest fear. We are dealing with a cult in America. And that cult is, I'm sorry, white people.
My last comment on this goes to the Ball State article. Back to my iPad, Henry. It says the substantial growth of the Indiana KKK faltered when Grand Dragon D.C. Stevenson was arrested for rape and murder. When Klan-supported politicians did not facilitate his release from prison, Stevenson became a snitch. They didn't say that, but I'm saying it. Stevenson revealed the unsettling complex web of corruption in Indiana politics. Stevenson's confession revealed that the Indiana governor, Marion County Republic chairman, the mayor of Indianapolis, and Marion County commissioners, among other state and local officials, used the Klan's money and power to influence politics. Hoosiers who had joined the Klan to keep America safe, ooh, that sounds familiar, doesn't it? Quickly realized the Klan did not exist solely to support hate crimes, but to line the pockets of their leaders. Ooh, sounds real familiar. Membership quickly dropped and the KKK lost the majority of its public power in Indiana. And I'm sure the Lieutenant Governor of Indiana will call that DEI.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We've raised over $10.6 million of our $17 million goal. That means there's room for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with uncertain futures are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now, invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.